Joining me is the panel, Michael Kroger, former Victorian Liberal President, Stephen Conroy, former Labor Senator and Cabinet Minister. Michael, what does this tell you? Keeping secret China's attack on one of our warships and its sailors so that he doesn't have to confront China's president?
I think this guy's just out of his depth, isn't he? I think the more we see of Albanese, he's just not done the hard work over the years to work out how you behave as Prime Minister. So twists and turns and nuance and chicanery. I think he might be really out of his depth, and it showed with his hopeless performance over The Voice. I mean, Hawke or Keating would never have done that. They would never have been led by the nose by an extreme Aboriginal leadership. He's been passable on the Israel situation, but from socialists, just passable. I mean, he hasn't been out there condemning Hamas and condemning anti-Semitism to the extent he should have been. And this sort of stuff with the Chinese, it's all too tricky. And in foreign policy, you get found out. So I just wonder whether he's out of his depth. I wonder whether he's up to the job. Doesn't appear to me that he is.
Fancy that you use FaceTime with the Chinese president to talk about pandas and whether New Zealand red wine is better than Australia, but you don't happen to mention, oh, by the way, one of your ships attacked our sailors.
Look, I think, Andrew, that you're confusing the two types of conversations. The panda conversation was after a formal meeting, formally agreed discussion points, not an on the sidelines discussion. So he's quite right to say, when you pull people aside, you have the chat. That's a confidential conversation. When you have the formal meetings and everyone's agreed what we're going to talk about and everyone knows that's what's going to be talked about, then you have that conversation. So don't make them sound like they're the same thing, because they're not.
I really admire you, Stephen. I tell you what, if I'm on trial for my life, I want you. Yeah. I want you. But listen, let me give you a point of difference. Tony Abbott said he was going to shirt front Vladimir Putin. He did it, and he told us about it. This is serious. Why didn't Albanese shirt front the Chinese president and tell us about it?
Let's be clear. The Abbott, Turnbull, Morrison governments made a hash of our relationship with our biggest trading partner. They managed to achieve nothing with China and at the same time get a whole range of our tradable items outrageously banned by China.
My question was why he didn't say it.
What Albo has been able to do with Penny is actually get us back on a stable footing and get most of our goods back in without conceding a thing.
Without conceding a thing. Michael, the thing that he just conceded was, oh, you can attack our warships and hurt our sailors, and don't worry, President Xi, mum's the word. I mean, seriously, that's what he conceded.
I don't think you'd accuse Albo of being strong in international affairs. I mean, he's just tiptoeing into these relationships. Look, Xi is a master. He's toying. If when they say to him, we've got the Australian Prime Minister Albanese coming in to see you, Xi must think, oh, well, that's an hour of my life I'll never get back. I mean, he's just toying with Albo. This guy's one of the great political masters of our generation, President.
But let me tell you, on that point, Stephen, I know you're not going to bag Albanese, although seriously, this is subpar. This is embarrassing. The bigger picture is this: China can have you come in. The president can smile on you.
Absolutely.
The premier can call you handsome boy, and pledge eternal peace, and the very next week they go and do this.
Absolutely. I've said consistently on the show, Andrew, and I know you've always made the point that I have, that you don't believe what China says. They can say anything kind to you in the world they want. You just watch what they do. They don't keep their word. They deliberately have militarised islands. They're the masters, as Michael's just described, playing what we call the grey zone war, where they don't do anything that's just across the line of actual military conflict, but they'll do things like fire chaff in front of planes. They'll shine lasers into pilots' eyes. They'll fire sonar bursts to potentially scare off / in this case injure Australian sailors. And you don't believe the words that they say. They are not a good international partner. It is a dictatorship, and Xi is increasingly exerting.
Prime Minister Stephen Conroy said, I don't think it would have been nothing. I don't think it would have been nothing. That's not your character. Seriously.
No.
But listen, obviously, this is a free kick from the Liberal Party point of view, but I said a week ago that I thought something snapped in Albanese, right? I thought his leadership was now in crisis. It's not obvious to many people, but I think his confidence was gone, his focus was gone, his authority was gone because of his loss on the voice, and I didn't see many things going for him, the economy or whatever. I think it's in crisis, and now this. What do you make of it?
Look, he's diminished as a leader after the voice. I mean, they did some good things electorally early on, all washed away by his obsession with the voice, being led down this garden path by, as I said, the extreme leadership of the Aboriginal movement. He couldn't get out of it. He wouldn't get out of it. He wouldn't stand up to them. Now he's got to deal with the Makarrata Commission and the treaty as well, by the way. We haven't got to that yet. And then the Republic. It's another popular move. He's lost his confidence. He's lost his agenda. And when you think that the issues over the next year are going to be cost of living, the economy and national security, this is not his turf. These are not his issues. His issues are something entirely different. So I think he's in a lot of trouble. If he loses 12 seats, he'll certainly lose his majority at the next election. Okay, there's no doubt about that. He's on 78. If he loses 3, he's lost his. He'll at least lose 6. If he loses 12, Dutton is on 67 and he's on 66. So if he loses 12 seats, Dutton will probably end up Prime Minister. I can easily see there's 6 you'd write off straight away. 1 in Victoria, Tasmania, and 2 in New South Wales and Western Australia. So there's 6 gone. I've got another 14 where I think he'd be in serious trouble. So while a month ago I thought, well, it's been 100 years since, this bloke's in serious trouble. He's a diminished figure. He's got a fight on turf, which is him playing away. They're not his issues. And, the dogs are barking.
I'm taking a piece of that.
Yeah,
Michael Kroger, what is it, 20th of November? Peter Dutton's going to be leader after the next Prime Minister after the next election. At dinner at Florentina.
He has a chance.
Dinner, you're paying, if Peter Dutton's not the Prime Minister after the next election, I pay if he is.
Dutton has a chance of winning.
Okay, I want a piece of that action, Michael.
Well, that is
as far-fetched as it
more
gets.
Seats than Labor.
I'm putting my money where my mouth is, Michael.
More seats than Labor.
Tell us how it could turn around. Because there are all these problems, right?
Well, firstly, Peter Dutton offers nothing on any of those. Nothing on cost of living, nothing on inflation.
The theory is
nothing whatsoever.
Lose elections, oppositions don't win it. I think Peter Dutton's
but the Australian public have
away from looking.
Yeah, the Australian public have met Peter Dutton.
Government, but I think
they know exactly who Peter Dutton is.
Well, I don't know. I think Albanese has played him in. Albanese has made immigration for some reason. For miscalculation, an issue last week. That's Dutton's home turf. Dutton,
a Liberal Party failed policy. A failed Liberal Party policy. The court's overturned.
And national security,
somehow Labor's fault.
That's what you want. No, I'm just saying.
A High Court overturned a failed Liberal policy, and it's Labor's fault.
It is Labor's fault for not preparing for it, as you well know.
Did the Libs have their legislation?
Allowing 80 criminals
Did the Libs have their legislation ready to go?
Without having got anything ready to save the community. It's
absolutely not. This is a failed Liberal Party policy. The High Court has overturned.
It wasn't a failed Labor
on Peter Dutton's head. This is a Peter Dutton policy that's failed.
Mate,
we need more advice from Peter Dutton.
I feel so sorry for you having to reach into the bottom of the bucket to try and find something. They're in look, the point is, they're in so
I think if an election was held today, there's a chance that we would be a minority government. But an election isn't being held today. An election is being held in 18 months.
There's right at the centre of it, a throbbing Albanese is not up to the job, and you won't talk about it.
The economy will not be under the same sort of pressure from inflation, from interest rates. That will have begun to turn around long before the next election.
Electricity prices?
Punch drunk.
No, I think
punch
so.
drunk. He's lost his
I'm looking forward to dinner. I know what I'm ordering, Michael.
Victorian Liberals, right? How unelectable are they? You had Premier Daniel Andrews quitting politics last month. By-election was on Saturday. While the Labor Party lost 11 points from Andrews' huge votes at the last election, Liberals picked up less than half of that.
Look, the Victorian Parliamentary Liberal Party have won one election in 27 years. So it tells you something. And that is this, that you need some strong policy positions to define yourself. Not since Jeff Kennett and Alan Stockdale run Victoria, have with the parliamentary party in Victoria, had strong policy positions, enough to convince the electorate that we stand for something which compels people to vote for us. And that's John Pesutto's challenge. And I hope the lesson of almost 3 decades of defeat apart from the one victory that Ted Baillieu had in 2010, it tells them something. To find some very strong policy positions in order to win government.
Except
Liberals' primary vote was 21%.
That's terrible.
A 10% swing against Labor. Liberals' primary vote's 21%. And they talk about they're going to win the next election in Heartland Labor seats.
There was an independent.
Heartland Labor seats.
Well, still
21% of the vote.
Independent got.
Yeah, but if you run second, a third, behind even the independent, that's pretty.
Well, we reckon second
shoddy.
and preferences.
Yeah, I know. After preferences.
Anyway.
Michael Krogh, Stephen Conroy, thank you both
Thanks,
for
Andrew.
your time.